story he once told about Aegon the Conqueror. The Conqueror.
This is the face of a woman who knows she messed up. This is the face of a woman who let her bitterness hear what she wanted to hear and conclude at that. But to be fair to Alicent, confusing Aegon II with Aegon the Conqueror is a valid excuse. I mean, they do have the same name. Although you get the feeling that even if Viserys had just coughed, she would have heard, "Make Aegon king and stick it to Rhaenyra."
His dream, the Song of Ice and Fire.
Although, from her general demeanor, she seems to be a little less hot-headed compared to the time of Viserys' death. And maybe a little regret is now sinking in. I think what fuels the regret is how much of a mess the current situation is. Babies are losing their heads in the night. Otto, the incarnation of reason himself, has been fired as the Hand of the King. And the Small Council? The Small Council is a joke. I wouldn't be surprised if a small part of her wants to correct the error of her ways. But she's right. There's been no mistake.
There's been no mistake.
There has been no mistake because there is no conceivable reality where she can take this back. Imagine her rocking up to Aegon and being like, "Hey man, turns out your father never wanted you to be king. He was just a dying old man reciting stories at a moment's notice." She might as well write traitor on her forehead and proceed to chop off the head of Aegon's other child. In Aegon's mind, she will be as much a traitor either way.
Fire from the sky! This is war! I declare war!
So this face Alicent makes to Rhaenyra tells the whole story. She knows unless Rhaenyra surrenders, war is inevitable. Because Aegon is not a man of reason. I wouldn't say Aegon makes my blood boil yet. I mean, he naturally draws comparisons to Joffrey. But I don't think he's reached that level of repulsiveness yet.
All because of a war you started!
You're talking to a king!
More than anything, he excites me because I feel like everything he touches will turn to disaster. And that makes for great viewing. I have never seen a king so eager to fly into battle as Aegon. Maybe they should let him, because I guarantee if he does that, he will die. I don't particularly like Otto, but firing Otto was the dumbest thing this kid could do. He knows nothing about running a kingdom, but he fires a hand with the experience of 3 kings, all in the name of burning everything to the ground. Aegon turns at a moment's notice. He was going to battle, then he wasn't going to battle, then he was going to battle again, even had his armor on. But 2 sentences from the sus-looking dude, now he's not going anymore. This is the indecision of the most powerful man in Westeros. We are doomed.
You're sworn to chastity now.
Of course, Your Grace. Yes, Your Grace.
I think he should stick to giving away free drinks, partying with his friends, and making fun of Aemond. He at least does toxic masculinity with a little bit of flair.
Hard luck for your squire, though. As you can see, she's now very much occupied.
He was probably drunk, to his defense, but he's embarrassing the one guy against all odds who has had his back. The one guy who's the only reason Daemon hasn't come knocking down the door demanding the throne. This kid's stupidity has no limits. But even still, it is worth assessing his chances in the impending war. As it stands, his best hope is in Sir Criston Cole. I don't know if that makes me want to burst into laughter or tear up on his behalf. Sir Criston Cole is the hottest head among hotheads. This dude will stab you to death for refusing to pass him the salt. Nevertheless, he is the Hand now, and he at least seems to be trying to honor the position. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you are who you are. No matter how much Kristen Cole tries to channel the spirit of Otto Hightower, he is a soldier, through and through. And soldiers are built for one thing: war.
I will turn the Crown land houses who declared for Rhaenyra to our cause. We will add their numbers to our own and then turn west, where I will enlist the Brackens, subdue the Riverlands, and take Harrenhal.
With this, it came as no surprise when his first suggestion as the Hand to the King was to march on Harrenhal and subdue the Riverlands. Although maybe Alicent hopes that her brother can be the calm that Sir Criston Cole desperately needs on his journey. Sadly, these two did not get off on a good note. I think it's partly because it was pretty obvious that Criston Cole is boinking his sister. Nevertheless, they were off on their journey. And not long into it, Sir Gawain Hightower would try to fight Criston Cole at every turn, but he would soon learn his place. Nothing humbles a man like coming face to face with a dragon and coming this close to burning alive. Criston Cole's ability as a hand might still be in question, but he's alert and sharp, as a knight should be, and this is the one reason they live to see another day. All in all, I'm not sure if Aegon's hopes to win this war are in the best hands. What I found ridiculous was when Rhaenyra seemed upset at Baelor for engaging Criston Cole and his gang. Well, she had a fire-breathing dragon, and there were like 10 exposed men on horses. Of course she engaged, even if it was 200 men. She's Daemon's daughter. That part in her that's Daemon won't let her back down. Speaking of Daemon, I'm not sure how to assess him at this point in time. Is he 2 steps ahead? Or is the soak and destruction of Harrenhal a metaphor for his state of being? Maybe Harrenhal can be the key to strengthening their forces. The question remains though, are those forces for Rhaenyra or for himself?
If you are successful, well, when you are successful, what then?
We march on King's Landing and take the throne.
The throne?
Is ambition his biggest strength or weakness? I can't say for sure, but what I can say, he is currently sleeping in a wet bed, and that can't be a good omen. Heck, he is even having hallucinations. Induced or not, this does not spell a good omen for his mental state. He seems to be struggling with guilt over the death of Aegon's son, and because of his deep-rooted toxic masculinity, he will struggle to let Rhaenyra in, and it will torture him inside. I was over the moon to see young Rhaenyra, aka Millie Alcock. She had said she would not feature in this season in any way, but I forgive her lie because it was a pleasant surprise. For my fellow Succession fans, Daemon kinda reminds me of Kendall Roy. We all want them to succeed. We all want to see their reign. But somehow, it never pans out, and it's always their fault. Although, I know who my queen is. Rhaenyra Targaryen. She's not having it all her own way either. In fact, it kind of feels like Daemon and Rhaenyra separate is a waste. Where Rhaenyra is calm and calculated, Daemon can be her military mind and sword. On paper, it really works. Yes, she has Rhaenys with her occasional thoughts and glances of approval, but she's not helping that much. Rhaenys seems to approve of Rhaenyra's cautious approach, but is it really in her best interest?
You proposed to conduct the war in my absence.
It would merely be a precaution.
It would be treason.
On the other hand, maybe it's ideal for her not to listen to a blood-hungry council. What we can say for sure is that war is imminent. So what does she do? Reach out to Alicent? Kinda makes sense. No matter what, they do have history. But sneaking into King's Landing herself, borderline insane. I mean, she's the queen, for Christ's sake. Killing her ends the war before it even begins. I just fail to understand the level of trust she's putting in a woman who once tried to stab her.
Your Grace. Alicent, stay with the king! Hold your ground! Do not suppress them! Alicent! Do not suppress them! Alicent! Stay your hand, Paul!
No! You've gone too far.
Nevertheless, we're back to this moment, where Rhaenyra finds out that Viserys was talking about Aegon the Conqueror and not Aegon II. And you can see the delight and relief in her face. Although she was a bit naive in thinking that this changes anything. To be honest, I find myself wondering where her strengths as a leader lie at this point. In fact, none of the Targaryens seem well suited to rule the Seven Kingdoms. But to be fair, whoever is. But at the end of the day, Rhaenys speaks facts. An eye has been lost. 2 young boys have been killed. And a crown has been usurped. If all this means anything, it means there'll be war.